Good day, I'm Junior Researcher Adam Southgate, and today's lecture will be covering the Abomination Sphere's Bwystfil Bach. I'd appreciate that all hunters please subscribe as to not miss any future lectures, and also if you enjoy the lecture and find it informative, please like the video and click the bell to ensure you do not miss any future announcements. I would also be very happy to hear your thoughts, views, and stories of your own interactions with the monsters of the spheres in the comment area of this video. Also, I'm always ready to answer any questions you may have, and please share these lectures with any hunters you feel would benefit from them. So, to begin, as always, we'll start with our general announcements. Firstly, we are still collecting all the information about our assault against the Morganian Conclave and the retaking of Anglesey. Just like last time when an event like this took place, our next instructional video will instead be a summation of the events that have taken place throughout the contract in question. Secondly, and once again I've been asked to speak to you on behalf of Alwydd Inllosgi Armoury. The successors to an ancient weaponsmith guild, Alwydd Inllosgi Armoury is today the best place to procure fine melee weaponry built with the techniques and traditions of an age long past. Their focus on individually forging their collection instead of machine pressing them en masse has earned them a reputation for quality and reliability. Their blades, hammers, axes, spears, and maces are second to none and will be forged to your exact specifications. While Alwydd Inllosgi Armoury does have a strong belief in tradition, they are not afraid to innovate, with them also supplying weapons hammered from cold iron and forged from a wide variety of materials to fit your need. Alwydd Inllosgi Armoury is once again offering their work for steel deal, where those hunters who cannot afford to purchase from their collection can instead offer to work at the forge for a set period, at the end of which they can receive a brand new sword as payment for their labour. Alwydd Inllosgi Armoury is also once again offering combat training to hunters for a modest fee. Those who take on the course will be able to take part in group training with Master Hunter Reese, who will lead you through your own personal training regimen. While other weapon manufacturers are messing around with gas guns and clockwork, Alwydd Inllosgi Armoury says that if these weapons worked for our predecessors, why wouldn't they work for us? Alwydd Inllosgi Armoury, for a more civilized age. Finally, I've also been asked to speak to you on behalf of Welly's Wellingtons. These fine purveyors of quality waterproof footwear have been active since 1977, and as many master hunters will tell you, it doesn't matter what weapon you're carrying if your socks are wet before you get to your target. Created from fine calf leather, these boots will never let a drop of muddy water reach your feet. Welly's Wellingtons, they're... No, I'm not saying that.
Read it.
Welly's Wellingtons, they're welly good. I really should have used an MMB for this one. We within the research community spend a great deal of time attempting to understand how the entities that breach our sphere relate to each other within their own sphere. This is in aid of greater understanding, which may in the future allow us a greater ability to deal with the threats that we face. While some spheres are confusing due to them following a logic all their own, the Abomination sphere is difficult due to the pure complexity it presents us with. Imagine for me, if you will, that you were attempting to learn about our world for the very first time, and the only clues you were given were a random collection of animals. You don't even know what the Earth looks like. The animals you are given are a North American raccoon, a platypus, a red panda, a meerkat, a polar bear, and an iguana. You have no idea if these animals come from the same location or from different corners of the Earth. Now, attempt to create a picture of this world. It is a complicated task. All you can do is learn about these specific animals. However, by doing this, you could piece together some small details about the Earth. If you find that the polar bear prefers colder weather, then you can assume that there must be some frozen regions of the world. If you find that both the red panda and the raccoon climb rather readily, you could assume that trees, or at least some commonly available structures that would allow such an ability to evolve, are present. This is how we within the research community must work to gain any knowledge about this strange sphere in question. As an example, due to the eyes upon abomination entities either being very large or non-existent, with other functions compensating for sight, we can assume that where they come from has a low amount of light. We believe that today's entity may be an apex predator within its sphere. However, some evidence contradicts this idea. I'd like you to listen to what we know and let me know which side you fall on. The Bwystfil Bach is an impressively sized animal, at least from our sphere's perspective. Around 12 meters long and weighing roughly 10 to 11 tons, this monster of an animal is fearsome by our sphere's perspective, and from what we've seen, by the Abomination sphere's perspective also. The creature lacks what we would consider a traditional head, instead a large opening similar to a mouth, stomach, and digestive system in function runs from what would be the base of the neck to the middle lower torso. Running the inside of this orifice are a great many hooked teeth-like structures, each anchored to a set of muscles that allow the teeth to move backwards and forward independently of each other. This creates a similar effect to a conveyor belt that you would think would be used to draw prey to the base of the mouth-like structure. However, in actuality, they draw the mouth over the prey. The mouth-like structure extends out of the main chest cavity, drawing a rubbery and very durable membranous sac behind it. Once the prey has been completely engulfed, the mouth will close and lock back together. This creates a sort of pouch beneath the creature. Within this pouch, the prey will slowly be digested over a period of weeks. The Bwystfil Bach, surprisingly for a predator of its size, does not possess eyes. Instead, it relies upon a series of internal organs that release low-frequency pulses. These pulses bounce back off the surroundings and are then picked back up using a large collection of auditory organs that run the length of the spine. This system gives the Bwystfil Bach a low-definition three-dimensional image of the surrounding area that it can then act upon. Due to its fearsome size, it does not really need to view the world in too much detail. It only needs to be able to recognize when something is food. When hunting, the Bwystfil Bach moves upon two powerful hind legs that allow it to sprint at around 40 miles per hour in a straight line, and around 30 miles per hour while cornering. When not hunting, or after a meal has been secured within its digestive pouch, it instead walks upon all fours for greater stability, but at the cost of its speed, which is greatly reduced. These front arms are also used in a hunting capacity, as each digit upon the creature's hands possess a partially retractable claw. These claws are perfect for both hooking into fleeing prey, but also for slicing flesh. In fact, despite its seemingly formidable mouth, it is not actually used to take down prey, the front arms taking this responsibility. Once its prey has been subdued and engulfed, the Bwystfil Bach, while still formidable, is far slower than one with an empty pouch would be. Due to this, the creature will typically avoid confrontation while in this state, attempting to find a location where it can digest undisturbed. Once all the nutrients have been absorbed from the prey, the Bwystfil Bach will reopen its digestive pouch, releasing the waste material it could not make use of. This waste is a thick, black, tar-like substance that acts similarly to a strong adhesive. Due to this, the creature will release this waste with the utmost care, slowly walking backwards as it does not want to trap itself within its own excreta. Thankfully for us, the Bwystfil Bach does not use this byproduct of its digestion in an offensive way, simply dropping it safely where it happens to be. The thought of this creature being able to use such a substance to set traps is truly a disquieting one. Like a great many species of the Abomination sphere, the Bwystfil Bach possesses chitinous plates that cover its body. However, in this case, these plates are small and circular in shape. However, unlike most of the Abomination sphere, these plates are leathery in texture and flexibility, however are still very durable, though not as durable as the thicker plates of other Abomination entities. We believe this trade-off evolved to keep the Bwystfil Bach's weight down to compensate for its larger size and to allow a greater degree of flexibility while hunting. Altogether, these attributes make the Bwystfil Bach a formidable predatory hunter, though interestingly, it appears to behave more as an opportunistic carnivore. Typically, amongst apex predators, you find very specialized animals who rely upon a few strategies to take down a select group of prey. The Bwystfil Bach instead hunts more as a generalist, taking down any prey that is available at the time, displaying a large degree of adaptability in what it chooses to hunt. Upon our world, this behavior is more typical amongst carnivores within the middle of the food chain, those that must hunt for their meals while also facing the threat of being hunted themselves. While the Bwystfil Bach is believed by many to be an apex predator within the Abomination sphere, it has been noted that some of these entities that breach our sphere show evidence of battle damage that could have been inflicted by a larger being. This is highly concerning, as the Bwystfil Bach is the largest entity in terms of predators that has breached our sphere from the Abomination sphere so far. The idea that it may be simply the Abomination sphere's equivalent to a fox instead of, say, a tiger is highly distressing. Either way, within our sphere, the Bwystfil Bach is a highly dangerous animal. While human beings aren't big enough on their own to fill their stomach-like organ, and due to how they digest, that would mean they would be dedicating a great deal of time for not much nutrition, they do sadly have a way around this. Observed on no less than 3 occasions, it has been witnessed that the Bwystfil Bach will slaughter a large group of humans, the largest group observed being 127, then piling the bodies into a mound and finally extending their stomach mouth to engulf the whole group. This strategy appears innate to the species, as it has been witnessed that Bwystfil Bach who have freshly breached have enacted this strategy, as with the Look-Thrug farm incident where over 200 sheep were devoured. Along with this hoard then devour strategy, it has also been noted that they will consume a single prey animal if it is big enough. It has also been observed through testing that if the entity is put into a low nutrition environment, they will enter a state of semi-torpor, where most of the bodily functions have shut down while the legs continue to walk forward. Most of the primary brain and all of the secondary is inactive in this state, however are able to immediately spring back if prey is found. The typical hunting strategy for the Bwystfil Bach in the past was inelegant to say the least, with a great many hunters losing their lives. However, in recent years, and thanks to the work of Master Hunter Wayne Street, the situation has improved considerably. After learning that the Bwystfil Bach see through low-frequency echolocation, Wayne came up with his first strategy. This entailed the use of large speakers placed at strategic locations that would play out a constant sound at the lowest frequency possible. This worked to disorientate the entity, making it effectively blind, however it would thrash out and attack wildly, causing a great deal of destruction. The second strategy was far more simple and effective, using a large animal carcass, typically a cow or horse, that would have a remotely operated explosive placed within it. Once the animal was fully taken within the entity, the explosives would be detonated, causing severe internal damage to the entity, if not outright killing it. The second strategy has become the Order's standard for dealing with Bwystfil Bach due to its effectiveness. However, it should be noted that weapons capable of firing large slugs should still be brought, as from time to time some do survive, and while very injured are still highly dangerous. The Order recommends training in explosive handling, as well as never undertaking this kind of contract alone. Apart from the difficulty of transporting a cow carcass, it also helps to have other hunters ready to fire if the entity isn't killed outright. The Abomination sphere is always a strange one for hunters to go up against. It is effectively similar to hunting animals of our own world, however, far more dangerous. Unlike the other 4 of the greater spheres, the Abomination sphere possesses no magic that we know of. The entities from this sphere are simply the result of evolution upon a far harsher world. In fact, there has in the past been attempts made to domesticate some of the more socially inclined Abomination entities due to the fact that, in essence, they are simply animals, though these experiments quickly got out of hand due to how Abomination entities reproduce. But the fact is that humanity is the masters of nature within our world, but not within others. This reality has humbled us more times than any of us within the research community would like to admit. But that will be all for today, with Arthur's might and Merlin's wisdom. Thank you.